Hello, amazing listeners. Welcome to the podcast where we talk about the complexities of adulthood, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. I am your host, Bukola. You just stumbled on the right podcast. If you're tired of figuring out this adulthood phase all alone, now let's do it together. Hi, we have something very serious to talk about. I came across this couple on IG. They are content creators, and I watched one of their videos that was so cringe-worthy. Like, it was just so somehow, and I just found it weird that husband and wife were doing things like that online. It got me thinking, who is going to advise these people? Who's going to put them in check? I mean, both the husband and the wife seem so desperate to gain views, to make money through content creation. It's a different thing if it's only the husband doing something or if it's only the wife doing it. At least you have the other partner to keep them in check. But they are in it together. They are adults. So what's going to happen? And this maybe just step back and look at the bigger picture, reflecting on our reality as adults. In the last episode, the listeners that contributed to the podcast mentioned how they really enjoy their autonomy as adults. And if you're being honest, one thing we all looked forward to doing is actually having our freedom, having our free will to make choices over our lives, over our things, over our resources. In fact, most of us couldn't wait to just grow up and have our own freedom, like total freedom, and live life on our own terms. But let's be real, we should be free to do whatever we want, however we want. But the truth is, we are not infallible. And as a result of this, even as adults, I feel like we're vulnerable to making some really bad mistakes. And as adults, the kind of mistakes we make are most times more costly than the ones we would have made if we were younger. So how can we help ourselves? How can we put ourselves in check as adults? Sometimes we can be so caught up in our own world, in our own head, in our own things that we do not even notice when we start making bad decisions or when we start derailing from our focus. And at times like this, an external insight would really go a long way in helping us, in bringing us back on track, or simply an advice from somebody else might be all we need to just get back on track, get back to focusing on our dreams, get back to being in our best behavior, let me put it that way. But the irony of all these things is we often, as adults, I think one thing we often receive unprovoked is unsolicited advice. Everyone just seems to have an opinion about what's right for us, what's wrong, what's best for us. And this leaves us with the big question, this dilemma of what do we do? Do you get how do we filter through the noise and identify the opinions that truly matter? Who should we listen to? And whose opinion should count? And these are the questions we'll try to answer in this episode. But before we get right into it, how are you doing? How are you doing? How's everything going? How are you? I hope you're doing good. I'm actually very fine. I'm doing well. Yeah, and just make sure you let me know how you're doing in the comment section. It's not a rhetorical question. Let's dive into the conversation of the day. Right before we dive in, let's hear what these amazing people think of the adulthood phase.
Adulthood is responsibility.
Adulthood is complicated.
Adulthood is growth.
Adulthood is maturity.
Adulthood is being independent.
Adulthood is stressful.
Adulthood has been confronting.
Adulthood is draining.
Adulthood is decision making.
Adulthood is resilient.
Adulthood is overwhelming.
Adulthood is fun and adventurous.
Remember, I'm not here to demonize this phase, but to say it as it is. So I'm currently rocking this very full Afro hairstyle. I don't know if you're familiar with hairstyles that are rather very full and very attention calling, let me put it that way. It's quite voluminous, and the hairstyle doesn't actually give this demure look or anything or make me look calm. And I've been getting a lot of attention with the hair. Fine, rocking the hairstyle came with some insecurities because I was okay, do I really want to rock this? But I was let me just try something different and just try something interesting. And every time I step out with it, I really get nice comments. I won't even lie about the look. I don't know if they're lying to me, but I look at myself in the mirror, so I think it looks good. So I get really nice comments, young girls, because in Brazil, there's just this thing about, Afro hair, black essence, and things like that. So I have young girls walking up to me and saying, oh, you look good, you look pretty, adult. But then on the flip side, the people that are really close to me have expressed their concerns about this hair. And now I don't even know. For example, my younger brother, I was on a video call with the family, and my younger brother was like, I can't even see your face. Don't you think this thing is too big? I was like, no, you don't know anything. I was like, I know a lot. This hair is not nice. The mommy too was like, this hair is too full. I think you can reduce it. Blah, 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 blah. Then, my dad just sent me a text telling me outrightly on the video I made with the hair, and just said it outrightly, this hair looks rough. It's not nice and it does not fit you. I was like, wow. See, I don't know, the comments hit my heart. It was like, wow, hold on, wait a minute, like, what happened to filtering your opinions? I know you're my daddy, but it's too direct and it's too blunt, in my opinion. But yeah, I kind of get where they are coming from. It's just very contradicting to see how people that see me physically just feel like it's okay. And someone even asked me if I could make the hair for them. Like I said, I don't know if they lied to me. And I have a friend close by too that feels like, in fact, not even just a friend, a couple of friends that said the hair looks nice. I'm going to go and meet all of them after recording this episode and just ask them the honest question, like, what do you guys really think about this hair? Do you think it doesn't suit me, or do you think it's just my parents are being extra, my family are being too conservative about the hairstyle and everything? So now we'll just be going in to address the questions we'll be looking at on today's episode. Who should we listen to? From what perspective should we analyze the advice we receive? Why do some people feel the need to give us unsolicited advice? Everyone seems to have an opinion about our lives and the kind of personality we're supposed to have, the career path we're supposed to follow, and the way we're supposed to look, things we're supposed to do, goals we should achieve, how and when we should achieve them, and so on. The advice we get from people can be very overwhelming, and it sometimes feels like everyone but us knows the things that are right for us and the things we should be doing for ourselves. It is very overwhelming, and looks aside, leaving the hair issue or look issue and going to things that are more serious. Recently I got a call from someone, and the first thing he said was, when are you getting married? I'm actually rooting for your relationship and I hope you guys are still together. If you're still together, better come home and get married before someone else takes him. We don't have a lot of men outside again because you're getting old. And I was like, okay, what is this call? For real though, I was so shocked that day, like, is this really coming from a place? Where is this coming from? I think that was the first question I asked myself. What's going on? And I even asked him, I was like, what's going on? Where is this coming from? Why do you feel the need to say all these things to me? Why? And he goes, it's just saying it because he's concerned. Are you truly concerned? Do you actually know what I want for my life right now? Do you think I don't want to do certain things and you feel like it's in your position to just tell me imperatively what I'm supposed to do with my life? Aside from this very audacious person, so there are instances where I post the picture and people reply to my status by saying, go and get married. Some are saying it jokingly, others are rather very serious. It is very invasive for people to just come into your space and tell you what you're supposed to be doing. Sometimes I feel I've given them the power to offer unsolicited opinions by posting a lot. On the second thought, I don't think people need permission or any opening to give you an advice or to be invasive or to just come into your space. I don't think they need any permission for that, because growing up I remember something that happened. I couldn't get into the university after my first try. In Nigeria, you write JAMB, you write your WAEC, and you get into school. I couldn't get into school because my JAMB score was too low because I picked UI at the time, and my JAMB score was just too low to get me in. I had to wait a year, and during that waiting period, people started calling my parents, advising them to send me to a private school or take me abroad. These were just unsolicited opinions, and they were just flying all around. And the people advising them claimed they were concerned. But I didn't listen to any of them. Low key, if I'm being honest, I actually wish he took the advice of the people that said he should send me abroad. I wanted to go abroad, and I kind of felt bad when it didn't, because it felt like, oh, maybe I'm not worth the investment, or he doesn't want to spend a lot of money on me. But growing up now, one thing I've actually learned from him is he's one person that knows what he wants. He's always focused on what he wants, and he doesn't do more than himself. He's not easily swayed away by people's opinion or things they have to say or advice they have to give, which is something that is worthy of emulation, because in the long run I understood why he stood his ground and the kind of decisions he has made concerning me. And talking about the advice that were pouring in during that period, left, right, center, they made me feel bad about myself. I felt like my situation was unique. I was the only one staying home a year after finishing secondary school. It felt like I wasn't smart, or something was just wrong with me that they had to fix and everything. Until now, I still can't understand why so many people felt the need to pressure my parents and in turn pressure me during that period. So people don't really need an excuse, or people don't really need an avenue to give you their advice or their own solicited opinion. Some of them just feel like they're more experienced than you. Some of them feel like they know better than you, and they're just trying to, in quotes, help you. So whether it comes from a place of concern or not, or a place of spite, or a place of, regardless of where the space the advice is coming from, I feel like external advice can be distracting and they can be very overwhelming. So it's just very important for us as adults to learn how to filter through what I would describe as noise. Some of them are actually very useful to us. We actually need some of them to help us become better people, to help keep us in check. So how do we do this? I think the first filter we need to apply is the who. Whose opinion actually matters? In order of importance, I think the first person we should always listen to is ourselves. Nobody can care for us or prioritize us as much as we do for ourselves, and that's why it's very crucial. When we talk about self-awareness, it's very important for you to know yourself. It's very important for you to know yourself very well. It's very important for you to be able to have honest conversations with yourself, and it is very, very important too for you to know what you want from life. Let your goals be clearly defined, because people would come, people will say things, but when they see that you know what you're doing, it's enough to probably just keep them at bay a little. When they see that you're not succumbing to their advice, and when you make it clear to them that, okay, you know what you want, you know where you're headed, they'll just leave you and let you be at some point. When you're doing rubbish, you're able to call yourself out on your bullshit. When you get something that is not nice, when you try something out that you know it's not given, be able to tell yourself the truth. If you pivot from your current career path and you try something else out and it's not working, let's tell yourself the truth. This thing is not working. I need to try out something else. I need to go back to where I'm coming from. We need to just be able to have this extreme honesty with ourselves, be able to just tell ourselves the blunt truth. So the next who after ourselves actually varies from person to person. It depends on your relationship dynamics, it depends on your family dynamics, it just depends on who you choose to prioritize. Like, it depends on who you choose to confide in, who you call your confidant. However, I feel it's very important for us to have someone else we listen to apart from ourselves. You must have somebody else that can talk to you, somebody else that can make you see things from a different perspective. You must have somebody else that can keep you in check. Somebody else that will just be there to be your compass when you start missing road, because we are not all knowing, we are not above mistakes. So a second opinion is just always valuable. In my case, I alternate between my friends, immediate family, and partner. If it's a professional issue, a romantic issue or something academic, I actually turn to my friends first before I turn to my family, because I just feel like we're kind of facing the same situation, so they will understand my view, they understand where I'm coming from, they understand my struggle more than my family. So I tend to always talk to my friends first, and when I'm not satisfied with their responses, or I just feel like I need more suggestions, I just turn to my family. And for issues that don't involve my partner, I reach out to my partner first before my friends. But if it's issues that is involving my partner, like my friends first before my partner. Yeah, funny enough. Then for my family, I just feel they're just that backup anytime they're there. Like, I talk to my mom and my dad a lot, but situations where it's just something a bit more personal, something a bit more discreet, I can just talk to my family about it, because family is just family. And now, speaking of satisfactory advice from friends, like, most of my friends actually think I'm strong-willed and I never take their advice, but really I just want them to know that I'm to correct that notion and just make them know that I do take the advice they give me. I just apply it in my own way. It's one thing for you to take an advice in, is another thing for you to apply it. And I just feel like that is it. When you gather all this advice from people, you get from family, you get from friends, you get from your partner, you get from anybody you talk to, probably spiritual leaders. If you're one person that runs to spiritual leaders, just have people you talk to. When you get all these things, you have to actually run the advice by you. Once again, you have to have like this conference with yourself again, like, okay, this person has said this person has said this person has said this is what I want. How do I find a common ground? What really works? What's going to really work out in this situation? What would really make me happy if I do it in this situation? So you just have that conversation with yourself once again, And the next tool for me after family, after friends, would be professionals in a particular field. If you're dealing with some kind of like very specific issues, I need to say a psychologist, or maybe you want to pivot in your career and you just speak to people that are already in the new career path you're willing to go into and just get their opinion, like you're getting first-hand information about the path you want to explore. It's different. And it's so yeah, like when you want to just go into a new industry, I'll just advise you always reach out to people that have gone before you and just get tips would not hurt you. You want to do something new, you want to do a new project, start something new, just reach out to someone that has done it before. I get their tips are always very, very, very helpful. And the final step in my own decision making process is always taking to the place of prayer to confirm it. Anyone giving me their advice are just giving me the advice from their own POV, their point of view. Then I'm also making my own decision based on my human understanding and just trying to confirm like and ensure if I'm on the right path. So and that's it. So I just feel like these are the who's that should be prioritized. And talking about the who's that should not be prioritized, generally it's very per individual, but I just feel like people that do not know anything about you, that do not know your story, your goals, or your struggles, I just feel like they should not have an opinion that should count. Because you can just imagine a random person that doesn't even know what I'm dealing with, what I'm doing in my life or what I'm going through, that doesn't even really know how I'm surviving or anything, just coming to me and asking me to come back home and get married. Like that was really just absurd and weird. And now takes us to the next question. What perspective should we use to analyze the advice we receive? This is another very important question, because even those we trust with our decision making process are humans and they are imperfect. While they may offer a very sincere second opinion, honest review, and a second opinion, it's also essential to remember that most advice they give, whether solicited or unsolicited, comes from a place of personal preference and comes from a place of personal experience. So most times people are just telling you what you should do based on what they would have done, or telling you how to behave based on how they would have behaved or how they would have handled a particular situation. And most times too, the advice comes from a place of care and a place of love, when it comes from people that actually matter, and when it comes from people that that in your life one way or the other, is because like you just know when someone is giving you an advice based on the fact that they care about you, and maybe they don't understand why you're doing what you're doing, so you can always like have conversations with them to enlighten them. So you have to receive their advice with love. Thank the person that gives you an advice. Thank them. It's not actually easy to advise people. If you found yourself in a position where you have to advise somebody on what to do and you have to be honest with your advice, you would know that advising people is a lot of work. Understand where they are coming from, try to explain your perspective to them, have a conversation about the issue and try to find like a common ground. When you even find yourself in a position where you have to give advice to somebody, learn to always put the feelings of the person you're talking to in consideration. I'm not saying you should not be honest, because if my parents cannot be honest with me, and if my siblings cannot be honest, or my friends cannot be honest, or my partner cannot be honest with me, I don't know who should be honest with me. So these people are people that I think they owe me their honesty, and I always go to them when I need honest review. Fine, telling me something, telling me a particular truth might hurt me. It definitely will hurt me, but just make sure you do your part. Don't lie about things to your friend. Be honest with your friend. Yeah. So lastly, why do people find it's very important to give unsolicited opinion? One, I think it's because they believe their input counts and they believe that you need it. That's why they're giving you the advice, and they feel like it's in their place or they're in the right position to tell you the thing you're supposed to hear. I'm just like a big fan of letting people figure things out and figure things out on their own. If you come to me and you want my sincere opinion about something, trust me to give you, but in a very polite way. I'm like this with my younger ones. I just feel fine. I try to guide them. I try to like let them know things, wrong from right in my own opinion, but I let them be. I let them live, let them make their own mistakes, because I feel like they'll learn from the mistakes as well. Some things happen to me, some things have happened to me in my life. I feel like if I had an older sibling, probably it wouldn't have happened. But at the same time, these experiences make me who I am. Our experiences, our mistakes, our everything, it's all a part of the process of making us become who we would eventually become. So I feel like we should just cut people some slack, let people make the mistakes, let people leave, give them some space. You just need to let them know that if you need to talk, if you need advice, if you need guidance, I'm always here, I'm always around, I'll always help you if you need anything. But yeah, you have my support, and just do what makes you feel comfortable, makes you feel happy. And you see that these people would even come to you at every slight doubt they have about something they're trying to venture into, or slight doubt they have about something they want to do or they want to try out. They'll always come. Yeah, they'll always come. And I just feel like we're all just trying to figure things out. So maybe we should just be less harsh with our judgments about people, about the things they are doing. We're all just trying to figure things out. We're trying to try out new things. We're receiving unsolicited opinion too, depending on the person's intent. I think we don't have to be harsh in our response. Let them know you appreciate the love, the concern, and politely turn them down. And this is like a podcast special. This is like a special tip. So I already prepared for this episode, but right before recording, I decided to do my devotion. And while I was doing my devotion, I was reading 2 Samuel, and I read the story of David's son Absalom. I don't know if I'm getting pronunciation, but like Absalom, Amnon, his friend Jonadab. But yeah, Amnon was lusting on his Tamar, his sister, and he spoke to his friend Jonadab about it, and the friend advised him to actually pretend to be sick, call his sister in and lure her to his bed. And this guy took the advice of his friend and raped his sister, which was something really vile and something really evil. And it just brings me to the place of surrounding ourselves with people that can give us and provide us with wise counsel. It's not enough to have people around you that you can talk to or you can seek advice from. Before you seek advice from people, look at how they are living their life. Look at the kind of decisions they make. See how far their decisions have brought them. And I feel like that should inform you on the kind of decisions or the kind of advice they will give you too. You need people that can tell you the truth. You don't need people that always encourage your bad behavior, or surround yourself with friends that can't tell you the truth because they are worshiping you, or they just can't look you in the eyes and just tell you the blunt truth. And back to wrap it up, I'll just say it's crucial to always have people we listen to. We need to also learn to analyze the advice we get without letting our ego get in the way. It's very hard when people tell us the truth. It hurts us. And lastly, I think we need to learn to say no to some advice. Not every advice that we'll take. Some advice should actually we should tell the person outrightly no, especially when it's coming from a place of spite. But I'm working on communicating on saying the polite no. So if you have tips on how one can politely say no to an advice that was given to you out of love, let me know in the comment section. And that'll be all on today's episode. So we have 2 episodes to go, guys, before we call it a season. I'm already feeling I don't want to go. So yeah, that's all for today's episode. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and please drop your comments. Thank you so much. Have a great day, have a great weekend, and have a great 7 days. Catch you on the next episode. Bye bye. Thanks for listening. Catch you on the next episode. Do not forget to live every moment and leave no room for regrets. Remember to follow this channel so you get notification whenever I drop a new episode. Thank you. Bye.